No. No. Folks, remember I told you it's a dreary day outside. This like is a dreary day for the fans of Ohio, for the community of Ohio State. Remember how I had to educate the 58-year-old Jim Trussell, who I thought could do professionally, could do no wrong. But yeah, he is human. He's human. And to educate him how to take this information to proper authorities. And how him or his coaching staff took this to proper authorities. You know, I understand that we all make mistakes. I understand that. And I understand that there's been other allegations, other troubles. Now, I will say, Jim Trussell, unlike one of my favorite people of all time, Lane Kiffin, is not running away from his problems. But he tried to cover it up. And if it wasn't for Yahoo Sports, the unidentified source, this would have stayed covered up. I mean, but seriously, how can you truly explain to your fans, to alumni, to the student body, that Terrell Pryor, that your starting quarterback, broke the rules? He broke the rules, and now he can't play the 2010 season. Yeah. You think Ohio State would have beat Miami then? You think Ohio State would have won the Sugar Bowl? You think they would have beat Wisconsin? Oh, yeah, that's right. They didn't beat Wisconsin. That's right. So, what do you have now? As much as I hate to say this, Jim Trussell usually doesn't make mistakes when it comes to being professional. I understand he wanted to protect the safety of his players, but he left it alone. You cannot do that when you're flirting with the NCAA. I like how everybody said that we acted on this very quickly. Yeah, you acted on this very quickly when everybody else knew about it. I think because of all of this, there's going to be a few things that's going to happen that it's not going to please Buckeye fan. First, there'll be some scholarships taken away for a year or two. There'll be some scholarships taken away. Now, I'm talking from the stand. Ohio State did what they thought was okay for short-term wise. And I know Gene Smith, we talked about it. Gene Smith was like, we hope they agree with our rulings. We're talking about the NCAA. If the NCAA has rules about players not being able to sell their own stuff, you think they're going to let Ohio State off easily? They could have. But how does this sound? How does this sound? When the 5 players were initially suspended back in December for the first 5 games of the season, they were still allowed to play in the Sugar Bowl. They were still allowed to play. Cam Newton, when he had his troubles, great guy, but when he had his troubles, the NCAA made sure that they interfere with their business. But it could come back to haunt him later. Reggie Bush had his troubles. They waited 5 years until he left. Until he graduated and left. To take away his Heisman. So, yes. They did let those 5 players play, and Jim Tressel coach in the Sugar Bowl. But that's about to be wiped out of their behinds. I suspect, based on the shadiness of all this going on, I suspect with the NCAA, loss of a few scholarships and a complete wipeout of the 2010 season. Because of all of these allegations. Yes, I'm a fan, but more importantly than that, I'm a realist. And me being a realist, your head football coach lets these, what initially was federal drug trafficking, it turns out to be illegal selling of memorabilia, which is a clear violation of the NCAA. When you let that go to pass, and you plan on letting it rest for ever, unless somebody snitched and found out, you got to pay the price. You got to pay the price. I don't see Tressel losing his a couple things here. Does Tressel coach in the spring game? Does he practice? I think he practices. I think coach will practice. I expect, the only thing I do expect for the upcoming season, I do think, this is the NCAA we're talking about, I think he will be allowed to practice, coach in the spring game. Oh, great. And that's another thing. Got the spring game coming up. That's great. So the spring game, which is a public affair, in April, will be all about what you did or didn't do last April. I expect the suspension for Jim Tressel to increase by a few games, because I really feel that the NCAA is with me in saying that suspending Jim Tressel for games against Akron and Toledo in the first couple weeks of the season is not really a punishment. It's the same. It's the same. You got Miami the week after. Perhaps matching, Tressel matching or exceeding the suspensions that the players had. And I did put blame on the players. They know better. They know the rules. You know the rules. But Tressel should know better. We're talking about kids compared to a professional who's been in this business for a long time. For a long time. And screwed up. This, I expect, at the end of all of this, when dust settles, I expect the 2010 season to be wiped out, including the Sugar Bowl victory. I expect that to be wiped out of the record books. I expect some scholarships going away, and I expect the suspension of Jim Tressel to be increased. It is possible he can lose the entire fall next season. I don't think that will be the case. I don't think he, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest level of offense and 1 being the lowest, he's at a 4.5 with this. When not saying anything, he's at a 4.5. If he was at between 4 and 4.5, he was above that, Yes, I'll say take away the entire season. I don't think it happens, but I do think the suspension will increase when the NCAA fully reviews this within the next month or so and really screws the 2011 season away from Ohio State. Because you said that you will get on it ASAP, which meant you didn't do anything at all.